And welcome to the latest edition of the Red Mountain Express. I am Blake Westbrook. Joining me as always is Matthew Joyner. Matthew, how you doing today, bud?
Doing good, man. I'm wet, waterlogged, a little bit soaked.
I parked my kayak out in the parking spot next to your truck, if that's okay.
No, that was a good idea.
I'm going to tell you what, man. Yeah, we get it. We get rain in Alabama, and I need it to kind of move on. I need some sunshine because I need to kind of start working on my yard again.
Well, and it had been a little while since we'd had a big solid rain. We've had some rain. Of course, it's not been a drought, but this is the first we've had in a while that's flooded. The road coming in.
I want to say I read the other day we were getting some sort of drought conditions in Alabama, but obviously now we're probably going to get away from that.
Yeah, I think, unless I'm mistaken, I think large portion of the state is being hit by this rain. So that's good. I mean, heck, everything's been really dry in my house. We've even had to use the humidifier a little bit, so I'm good with this.
Yeah, I like really, really cold weather. I hate rain. I just hate rain. I mean, some people love rain, but
I love rain. I hate driving in rain, but I love being at the house or being at work or anywhere.
The worst part
where
about your rain, your shoes get all wet. The bottom of your blue jeans get frayed because of it. It's just not a good thing. I mean, it is a good thing. Farmers need rain, but I don't need rain in my life right now.
All right, fair enough.
I'm just saying. We got a great show for everybody today. We have an interview with Ashley Chesnut of Down in the Ham. We're going to talk about her children's book. They also have a coloring book and her website as well. But before we get to that, we got some news. The Birmingham City Council finally made an agreement, an intent to do the $90 million funding for the BJCC expansion. Right. So that's good news. Yeah, 7-0, I think, was the final
7-0. You had one abstain from the vote and one that was absent for the vote. 7-0, though, shows pretty good solidarity in the council, so that's good.
Yeah, and it seems to me that they got all the kinks worked out before they came together, and I want to say that's the way government should work. But yeah, it's a resolution of intent. They'll support the project, contribute $90 million paid over 30 years. The funding has not been completely allocated yet. They have to wait for an agreement with the BJCC, and the appropriations have to happen. But it's a step in the right direction, and if this kind of goes through, they will start construction in December. Is that right?
December 21st was the date they named. They would begin on or before. So
that's real good news.
Yeah, really good
Moving
news.
forward. You think it's going to happen? You think it's going to happen?
Right now, at this point, I'm more hopeful than I've ever been.
Stops and starts in the past, but this is kind of the...
I'm willing to say I'm 100% certain this is happening. I don't think I have any doubts in my mind right now. And I'm excited. You have doubts. You looking at you have doubts.
It's just that we've heard it before, but I will say this is a new city council. It's a new mayor.
Have we ever gotten this far in the process before?
I mean, we've had breaking of the ground before. Apparently, I remember Larry Langford and some other folks. They broke ground. I mean,
I feel like the circumstances may have been a little bit different. The atmosphere may have been a little bit different.
I bet you those holes are still in the ground over there.
Very possibly. Somebody still got that shovel, the golden shovel. I'm sure
it was. If it was Larry Langford, it was probably obtained in a raid from the FBI. What else you got, Matthew?
So on similar news, the Birmingham Legion has officially selected the UAB BBVA Compass Stadium as their home stadium. Of course, they'll begin playing in 2019, but this is good news. They've also made some plans to do some renovations or some additions to the stadium.
Yeah, and we reported on this a while back, but there was never an agreement or approval by the UA Board of Trustees. Their property committee finally approved this. I think the UA trustees full board is going to approve it later on this week. $7.3 million expansion.
Is that right? I missed that.
Yeah. It'll bring the BVA stadium to about 5,000 stands, 5,000 in the stands.
For seating, yeah.
Yeah, and the best thing about it is they're going to serve alcohol at this thing.
I missed that too.
Yeah.
You did a better job reading that article than I did. That's good news. That shows a willingness to...
Little snake handler, little something.
Yeah, there you go. As long as they have some covered seating area, because trying to drink something like a snake handler in summer sun in Alabama...
yeah, but... I mean, you've been drinking at a baseball game.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different.
It's hammer time. I'm going to make that work.
Oh, no. Yeah. You're going to keep pushing it.
I'm going to keep pushing it.
Also, in city news, Mayor Woodfin has hired Josh Carpenter. He is the current Director of External Affairs in the Office of the President at UAB, and he has been hired to the role of Economic Development Director. He'll begin that position in March, so that's cool. Everything I've seen about this man seems like his reputation precedes him. He's a Rhodes Scholar, so that's pretty impressive. He also served on Woodfin's transition team as co-chair of his Economic Development and Entrepreneurship Committee. So he's got some background there with Woodfin.
Start recruiting, man. Start getting some business to Birmingham, That's the best thing about it.
Yeah. I want to mention again really quickly, we have Feeding Fingers. They're doing a show February 23rd at the Nick. Of course, last week on our show notes, I posted a link to the Nick's website where you can purchase tickets. I also posted a link to Feeding Fingers website and a YouTube channel with some of their videos on it. We will be doing an interview with them via telephone or Skype on Tuesday, and we'll have that for next week's episode.
We haven't worked out the kinks with that yet, have we?
Well, we haven't. This will be our first time to do a long-distance interview.
It may be tin can string to
No, we'll work it out. First of all, there's technology there that, I'm good with the technology.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's my skill set.
This is your job.
It'll be good to hear from Justin Kerfman about Feeding Fingers. This is a band that I had not previously known about. The more I listen to their music, the more interesting it becomes to me. It's, again, I mentioned this last week, it's not something that I would have found on my radio by accident. But I'm really glad that he reached out to us. This is some good music. So if you get a chance, check out our notes from last week. I'll have something posted on this week's notes as well. And go check out their music and see if it's something you like. And if you do, go buy a ticket and go see their show at the Nick and support them. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, and they're on tour right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're on tour for their new album, which is Do O Harm, and that's OWE. So we've got that coming up. I also want to say a quick congratulations to everyone who participated in the Mercedes Marathon today.
That's right. I think they had a kids 5K, then they had a half marathon, and they also had a full marathon. And good for you because we used to run. I think that was kind of the goal when we first started running, and then it slowly was like, this is not happening.
I've been running for a while. Me and you ran for a pretty good little while.
Right.
We were getting good at it. Then babies happened, and weather changes, and
it was really hard to get up when it was cold outside.
Oh man, really, really hard. It's hard to run when it's cold outside, but especially at 5:00 in the morning, it's hard to run.
It was getting bad when I was driving to our meetup spot, and I was like, God, I hope Matthew texts me and says he's still in bed right now.
Or the couple times that I did drive to our meetup spot, and you're like, I can't make it this morning. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
That's cool.
I'm going home.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like running. It's just...
Yeah, but I've never done a marathon. This is a whole different level. So those people, even if you didn't... I hope you finished. Even if you didn't, though, congrats to you for getting out there and trying it, or for preparing and training for it.
How long is a marathon?
21.6 miles.
That's probably wrong. Have you you see those stickers on people's cars? Have you seen the 0.0 and it says, "But good for you," though?
Have not. That's pretty funny.
That should be me.
Yeah, I've got to get one of those. One more thing before we cut to the break is I want to bring up, because I know that
are we going to do this right now?
You're going to want to talk about this, and there's going to be people that want to hear from you about this. So last week during the Super Bowl, the premiere of the Solo teaser trailer came out. That's Han Solo of Star Wars fame.
I didn't see Han Solo. I saw some guy acting like Harrison Ford.
Tell us what your thoughts on this was.
I'm not going to judge it until I actually see the movie, but if I see one lightsaber in this damn movie, I might lose my mind.
From all
really, Leia might come flying through the screen somewhere.
For all I've seen from the teaser so far, and again, this is a teaser. It's not the full 3-4 minute trailer that we'll probably get in a couple of months. They didn't talk about the Force. They didn't show any people using the Force. They didn't show any lightsabers. It looked like a fun action flick. You see him standing off and shooting his gun, and there's some action. He looks like he's got, to me, a little bit of the attitude of Han Solo. We'll see. I reserve the right to hold my judgment until the movie actually comes out.
When is the movie coming out? This summer?
I believe it's this summer.
So we're going to have a special edition, me and you.
We'll do another 30-minute...
I could be wrong on this. I
could be wrong, too. It could be terrible. You could be right. We have had terrible Star Wars movies in the past.
Really? Oh, really?
Not in the recent past.
Oh, the recent past, man. Yeah.
We don't have to go down that whole road again.
I'll tell you a funny story, a Star Wars story. So for Christmas this year, I got a table or a desk calendar. It's a Star Wars calendar, and every day, you peel something back. And it's really, really cool. But on I think it's Memorial Day. It's actually Memorial Day. It goes by, well, first of all, the calendar starts at A New Hope, and it goes by when the movies were released. So on Memorial Day, it skips to Episode 1. And it's right there, and it's Jar Jar and all of its glory, and that may be the day I throw that calendar away.
I'm surprised you haven't already just ripped that page out.
Well, it's actually really cool right now because it has a bunch of old posters and stuff. But when I get back from Memorial Day, man, I'll throw that calendar away. Ruining my childhood, man. Ruining my childhood.
Look, I know this is a tough situation for you. It's hard for you to talk about.
It's not tough. I had so many hopes when Disney. I was we're gonna get our own Star Wars park, but now we're just getting really crappy movies.
In another, I guess,
I have a cold, by the way. I'm
related.
sorry.
I hear that. You keep that under control.
So
you watched the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see the commercial for the Cloverfield Paradox on Netflix?
I've heard about it.
Did you watch any of the other Cloverfield movies?
No.
There's been 2 others.
No.
There was the Cloverfield, and then there was the 10 Cloverfield Lane with John Goodman.
Yeah, I was busy, watching
Star Wars,
Jar Jar Binks.
I'm a fan of these movies. During the Super Bowl, there was a commercial from Netflix on the Cloverfield Paradox. It was a short, countdown commercial. Didn't tell you what it was about. Then you went to Netflix and it said, "Watch after the game." And this is the first time.
the first you've heard of it? Like, wasn't it just a complete surprise?
People that follow the Cloverfield news knew that the movie was coming eventually, but had no idea that Netflix was going to throw it at us right after the Super Bowl. That was pretty big news, I guess, in that world. Have watched the movie since then. I'm kind of glad it went straight to Netflix. If I'd have paid for this to see it in the theater, I'd have been a little bit disappointed. Not great.
Yeah.
Not bad. There's some fun stuff in there.
I've paid for a movie recently to go see in the theaters and was disappointed.
Get out of here.
I'm about to. We're about to end this. We're about to make the jump, man.
So like Blake mentioned earlier, we have an interview after the break with Ashley Chesnut. She's the author of Down in the Ham, Children's Guide to Birmingham. It's told from the story or from the perspective of Vulcan. The artwork in there is really cool. It is done by Abby Little. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And very good book. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it at some of the stores around downtown. She has some shows at Pepper Place, and we talk about this during the interview.
And they also have a coloring book, too.
That's right.
Which is...
Color the Ham.
Yeah, Color the Ham, and it's really cool as well, so check this out.
So stick around for that interview. We did the interview at Forge, which is the first time we've been up there. It's at the Bazitz Food Hall, and that was really cool.
I was impressed.
Yeah, I just want to give them a quick plug. That was a really cool space. It's a workspace. If you don't know anything about it, you can pay so much for a month's worth of office space for you.
The only problem I have with that place is that you can see the Bazitz Food Hall, and I would eat the whole time.
It would be really hard not to eat there for lunch.
I'm bored. Kaneka corn dog would be really good right now. It's only my third today.
Yeah. Me and Ono Poke would be far too familiar with each other.
You keep that place open.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, they're doing great by all standards, but
all right, you would supply the bonuses for everybody.
Yes, I would. Yeah. So that's going to do it for us for right now. Come back after the break to hear our interview with Ashley Chesnut.
And so let's hear from our friends over at Beach and Woodworks. Beach and Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beecham Woodworks creates affordable quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beecham Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the Red Mountain Express. Today we have a special guest. It is Ashley Chesnut. She is the author of Down in the Ham, A Child's Guide to Downtown Birmingham, and Color the Ham. She also founded downintheham.com, and we are glad to have her. Thank you for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So you're originally from Georgia, right?
That's right.
So how did you come to live in Birmingham? What is your Birmingham story?
Definitely. So I moved here August of 2008 and going to Beeson Divinity School. That's what brought me to Birmingham. And I never planned on staying after school. I just thought I'd go to school and get a job. And then I ended up loving the city and got a job right after graduation. So I've stayed ever since.
I like to ask this of everybody who moved to Birmingham because I'm one of these folks as well. But did you have any preconceived notions of Birmingham? And if you did, have they changed or have they come to fruition? I mean, is it a different city than what you thought?
Definitely. So being from Georgia, we made fun of people from Alabama, and now I've just had to learn to make fun of people from Mississippi or Louisiana. And probably the only adjustment is just the fact that I'm a Georgia fan. So I live amongst all you Alabama and Auburn fans. And I'm still a little upset about the national championship.
Of course.
Well, you know, with man coverage and overtime like that, I'd be upset too. Roll Tide.
How long have you been in Birmingham?
So August of 2008.
And you still haven't converted to Auburn or Alabama yet after all that time?
And I won't be converting. So my little brother once told me that whoever I marry has to agree with my mom on religion and my dad on SEC football teams.
Wise brother.
So...
what is it about Birmingham that, you know, once you were here and you were going to school that made you want to stay here? I mean, other than a job, is there something about Birmingham that drew you to the city?
Definitely. So when I first moved here, that was really before all of the revitalization efforts downtown were really happening. So downtown wasn't a place that I was going. But I would say probably one of the first things that started drawing me downtown and just helped me to have a love for the city was actually going to Pepper Place on Saturdays. The vendors, the food, being able to just sit and talk with friends. And so that got me starting to come downtown, coffee shops, restaurants. And I am a foodie. I do love to eat, and I love to try restaurants, and I love all things local. And Birmingham, just the more I experienced it, the more just that pride of local started happening. And so, yeah.
I was going to save this question for a little bit later, but since you brought it up, since you're a foodie, favorite meal or favorite restaurant in Birmingham?
Okay, so that's constantly changing as I
Sure,
try
absolutely.
the many new restaurants that are opening. I'd say right now, top 5 would be Nabil's.
Oh, I love Nabil's.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Saul's Soul Kitchen in Avondale. Their
That's good
burger, their wings, it's all good. And then Silvertron Cafe in the Forest Park area. And then Feast and Forest over here on 2nd Avenue North. And I will tell you, this week I had a donut burger from Hero Donuts, and it was pretty amazing.
I saw the Instagram picture, and I'd never heard of the place before, but instantly I thought, I've got to go there sometime in the very near future.
And just wear your stretchy pants.
Oh, sure, yeah.
A donut burger? I mean, is that
Yeah,
what I think it is?
You can probably explain it a little bit better, but if you saw our picture, it's a hamburger, but it's on the bread that they bake or use for their donuts.
Yep, it's their donut brioche batter, and they just bake it instead of fry it. So it's literally that cut in half with a burger, and you can do a single, double, triple. You could add bacon. You can add a fried egg. I mean, it's a really good burger.
Oh, that's going to be my next stop.
And then you get a donut for dessert. So
perfect.
Yeah, because your caloric intake wouldn't be enough after that burger.
So, what started the concept of Down in the Ham? Of you wanting to put a book out there, a children's book about Birmingham?
Well, the idea for the book originally came just from a recognition that I was living and working in my own little bubble and wasn't really contributing to the city, wasn't really serving in the community. And so it actually started with just a desire and then a prayer of, okay, God, how do you want me to plug into the city? And so with that, I thought that meant volunteering somewhere. And it did. Initially, I started serving on the junior board of Save a Life Vestavia. And so it really wasn't until spring break of 16 when I was visiting some friends in Greenville, South Carolina. And Greenville's a lot like Birmingham as far as revitalization downtown along their waterway and Main Street. And my best friends have there's about 8 kids among all of them that live there. So we were taking the kids downtown, and the kids were so excited about seeing the mice downtown. And I was thinking that was a little odd too. I know they're giving me these strange faces
the
right
mice.
now. But yeah, there's these 9 mice statues along Main Street in Greenville, and somebody brilliantly wrote a children's book to give these mice a story. And so the book is called Mice on Main, and the kids had read the book, and because of the book, they were so excited about their downtown. And just as I was leaving Greenville, I was just thinking about how I would love to capture that enthusiasm that those kids had for their downtown and apply that to Birmingham's downtown.
Has writing a book, is that something that you've kind of planned to do when you were, not saying growing up, but is that, looking back, I mean, would you ever have considered writing a book before, or is this something that just like, I'll just write a book?
Definitely, I've always enjoyed writing. So yes, It's always been in the back of my head that I would like to write a book. I never thought it would be like a children's book about a city. But yes, that's definitely always been an interest. And I have an education background, so teaching English, teaching writing, teaching social studies, those are actually areas that I went to school for.
And so the illustrator on Down on the Ham was Abby Little, that's right?
That's correct.
And had you known Abby previously, or did you meet her to collaborate specifically for this book, or?
So we did not know each other before this project. So at the time I got the idea for the book, I knew that there's no really good reason to start writing it if I didn't have a good illustrator. Especially with a local book, you want a local artist who can really represent the city and understands the city artistically. So I started going to like Art Crawl and Pepper Place and just local events, just trying to see, okay, who are the local artists and do they capture the city in the way that I'm imagining it and would want it portrayed for children? And it was actually at a Save a Life fundraiser. We had done a silent auction, and I saw this painting of Birmingham that had been donated to the silent auction. And it was just beautiful. And it was brightly colored, and usually paintings of Birmingham are done in like grays and rust colors to represent like the mining industry, or dark because of the civil rights movement. And this one was actually done in blue and green and just brightly colored and kid-friendly. And so I looked at that, saw the artist's name was Abby Little. I looked her up, found her on Facebook, and Facebook messaged her. So that was how we actually met, was off of a Facebook message.
It's fortuitous. Looking at the art style of the book, I really love the art style. It really does feel like it is alive and happy and not, cold or dreary, or, it's a perfect fit, it seems like. So now you also have a coloring book. That's right?
That's correct.
And that's Color the Ham. Now for this one you used another artist, Bethany Hubbard.
That's correct. She works with Abby. So Abby is a local art teacher, and Bethany and another girl named Caroline work with her. And so when we started doing the book, we knew from the get-go we wanted to do a coloring book, but we did not know how long the book would actually take. And as we got closer to our release date, we realized we're going to need help to finish the coloring book on time. So Bethany graciously came along and did a wonderful job helping kids to be able to color their city.
Well, that was my question I was going to ask, is what are the challenges that come with writing a children's book or even a coloring book? I wouldn't know where to start.
Yep, all of this has been a learning process for us too. So with the children's book, the writing came first. So I wrote the manuscript, gave it to Abby. We kind of had ideas for various pages. And with the children's book, Abby actually painted each page on a canvas board. So she painted every page. So we have like 42 canvas boards at our houses. And then we digitized them and then added the type on top of it. And then with the coloring pages, those are actually just white pieces of paper in a square that Bethany did with Sharpie markers. So till this day, like I open that manila envelope with all of those coloring book page originals, and you just get this odor of Sharpie.
Oh, yeah.
What was the reaction when you finally published because the first was the Down on the Ham's children book, correct?
Correct.
What was the response when you finally published it? Was it overwhelming, or did it take a little while for it to take off, or?
So Abby and I got the book in our hands in May, the beginning of May, and then we had a book launch bash in June 10th of 2017. So at that book launch bash, we sent out invitations to like friends and family, and we actually made posters that we put up at coffee shops around town, and we thought it really would just be like, again, friends and family that came, and we had it at Urban Standard, but we actually had like 300 people come out that night. Wow. So, which was super encouraging. And then we were at Pepper Place a couple of weeks later, and then had various events the rest of the summer. So it's been a wonderful response. We've been so encouraged, and it's also just really fun when you're getting to interact with kids and show them the things in their city, and starting off with things that they already know, like the McWayne Center, or Pepper Place if I'm at Pepper Place. So it's fun to start with their reference point for the city and then build on top of that.
And this may be a little bit like asking a parent who their favorite child is, but is there a part of Down in the Ham that sticks out to you that you really enjoyed as a concept when you came up with it, or that you enjoyed after it was finished and you saw it and you thought, this is my favorite part of this book?
Well, my favorite page is actually the first page, and Abby's is the last page. So, and if you haven't seen the book, the first page is actually when you're finding out that Vulcan is the narrator. So the book is told from Vulcan's perspective, and he gives you a history of the city and then a downtown tour. And we've made it to where it could also be used as a scavenger hunt for families to use downtown, because he follows Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard, basically from Vulcan to Uptown.
Did y'all choose the landmarks or the spots in the city like very carefully, or was it like we just need to include this and this and this, or was it just kind of the spur of the moment deal?
Yeah, so I wrote the book in about a 2-week period. And as I was writing it, I knew I wanted that scavenger hunt idea. So Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard just made sense as far as a path. So I did things that were in relationship to that particular road. And then the rhyme scheme was also something that I had to work with.
Have you heard a lot from children or parents of children, in response to this book?
Yeah. So I think one of my favorite responses was when a kid told me he didn't know his city was so cool. So I love that. And I've had a lot of adults tell me that they didn't know about the city's history, or that they didn't know about Quinlan Castle. That's been another page that kids have loved. They love knowing there's a castle in their city. So that's just been fun to educate. And with this, I've been able to go into some 4th grade classrooms, because 4th grade does Alabama history. And so when they do their Birmingham unit, I get to go in, read the book, but also teach a little bit of Birmingham history with that.
What do you think you were setting out to accomplish with this book? I mean, I know it was maybe to bring Birmingham into a better light, but is it mostly education? I mean, would you say it's to educate kids of their city and to make sure they know their city's a cool place, or was it something completely different?
Well, it's a twofold purpose. So it is to educate, but it's also to inspire people to go downtown and to experience the things that are in the book. When Abby and I were talking about this project, one of the things we talked about is how if you go downtown, you tend to see people that are young professionals. I mean, that's who you tend to see downtown as far as playing and living. You'll see families at the McWayne Center or at a Barons game, but we wanted to give families a reason to go downtown. And so we were hoping our book would be able to encourage that.
Now, besides the book, you also have a website, downintheham.com, which of course has information on the book, but it also has a lot of information about events and restaurants you've been to. Now, was the website an idea that you came up with, because of the book, or because you wanted to start that service smaller? How did the website come about?
So the website came before the book, but we did it before the book because we knew the book would be coming out. So we wanted to create an online presence and a way to promote the city, a way to promote the book when it did release. And so food and events are things that I enjoy. And I was kind of naturally doing some of that at work. I had my recommendations list of things to eat that I passed around to my coworkers. And then the events, they're just things that I wanted to know and keep up with. And so that's the blog and the Instagram are really things that I use to promote our city, but then to promote our book as well.
Well, so you're a Birmingham enthusiast, it sounds like. What do you think our city's greatest strength is?
Oh, gracious. That's a good one. I think a strength that we have is that we have learned and are learning from our history. So obviously we still have a ways to go as far as racial reconciliation goes, but I also see steps being taken and we're not where we were. And so I want, and even in the dedication page of the book, one of the things that we dedicate the book to the children of Birmingham, and we say, may this book stir in you a greater love for our city, and may you learn from its history and make it a better place for us all. And that's really my hope, is that the next generation would make our city a better place, that they would learn how to interact and treat each other, that they would be involved, just a civic mindedness, and that they would be involved and serve our community and get to know each other. And if we're doing that, then we really can make our community a better place.
Well said. Is there anything currently happening in our city that you're just really excited about?
Oh, well, definitely I'm always excited when new restaurants are opening. I love seeing the buildings, especially like the heaviest corner on earth, and some of these down here that are being revitalized. I love seeing empty buildings being filled and brought back to life.
You're speaking to Blake right now.
We've both talked about, and I think Matthew he likes old buildings as well, but I love old buildings and old architecture, and I hate it when you have a beautiful old building and it gets torn down and something goes up that is going to be out of style in like 10 years. And we have some really pretty buildings in Birmingham, and they're not full, and I think let's get in there and let's renovate them, and let's bring some businesses downtown. I think that's what would be good for. So
definitely. I know one of the buildings I'm probably most heartbroken that I never got to see and it got torn down was the old terminal station.
Yeah, people are still upset about that. You see the pictures of it and you're like, man, I mean, that's just, there is no reason for you to tear that down. But I guess the interstate's over where it would be now. So, I mean, you could have moved that interstate just a couple hundred yards and we'd have been fine. So what's next? I mean, are there any current projects you want to tease or plug for our listeners, or do you just not want to say?
Well, I can tell you that Abby and I definitely have another project we are wanting to do. And she gets married in March, so we're kind of tabling things till she gets back from the honeymoon. But we do have another project that we'd love to have out by the end of this year, but at the very latest, the next year.
Excellent. And with your current books, where can people purchase those? I know that we mentioned Pepper Place already. Are there any local stores that sell them? Any online stores that people can access?
Definitely. So you can definitely find us at Pepper Place. You can find us at local farmers markets, and we put those events on our website and Instagram. We also have it at Alabama Goods in Homewood, and Vulcan's about to start carrying them, and the Museum of Art carries them, and East 59 Vintage and Cafe also has them. And then Amazon, of course.
Of course. And do you have any markets, Pepper Place or farmers markets coming up in the next couple of months that you want to mention real quick?
Our next markets aren't going to be until April. And some of that, again, Abby's getting married, I'm going on a trip, and then this is our first year being in business, and so I had to learn the whole business license renewal process. So not selling anything till we had that finalized either.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for being with us. We really do appreciate it. Her book is Down in the Ham, A Child's Guide to Downtown Birmingham, and of course the coloring book, Color the Ham. You can also find her website at downintheham.com. That's going to do it for this edition of the Red Mountain Express. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or redmountainexpress.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. For Matthew Joyner, I'm Blake Westbrook. We'll see you next week.